And welcome to the Eyes of Harmony podcast. On this podcast, we talk everything Doctor Who, new, classic, everything that's in existence. Literally, we'll talk about the second in the Romans, that one moment. We'll talk about it at some point. But
every frame. Dissected and analysed.
We literally skip through every single frame. I wonder how long you could do that joke for with it. Like, because it's like, isn't it like with jokes? It's like they're funny and then they become not funny, but then you do it for so long that it's not funny that it becomes funny again. Like there's that weird skill.
Kind of talking about that reminds me of like there's a couple of Twitter accounts that like go through old cartoons and just post like a frame a day.
Yeah.
So like for example, they got like the Super Mario Bros. Cartoon. It would just be like one frame. So that was like an entire like month of Bowser's feet getting licked, which was kind of really
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Some people might like that, but yeah,
no,
I'm sure there was a couple out there. But yeah, so kind of we finished recording the podcast then last week, and then the Daleks trailer dropped, which
then news actually happened.
Yeah. Well, we kind of had news. We had enough to talk about last week, but yeah, this week.
I guess.
But I'm not going to start with that. Actually, I'm going to start with the other thing, which was the video games, which we did a podcast.
We were talking about it not too long ago.
I think it was like our fourth podcast, maybe. You can see what our thoughts were on that. No, I mean our fourth of the weekly podcast. I meant like not in general.
Maybe.
That would have been years ago.
Yeah, of course not.
That was like our animation one was about our fourth one actually. But yeah, around that. It was in our first 10. But yeah, so new video games, 2 of them. Not just 1, 2. Wow. Okay. So we've got the Edge of Reality and the Lonely Assassins. I mean, yeah, these kind of came out of nowhere. Like,
yeah, and we still don't know much about them. I mean, I'm more interested in the Edge of Reality because from the looks of things, the Lonely Assassin seems to be very much like a mobile game.
Yeah.
And who knows what kind of capacity that will be. But like, I'm wary of anything mobile.
Yeah, I've always been. I kind of like being like my phone is like communication, business. You know, that's. I don't like crossing. Like, I don't know. I've never been a PC
sometimes it'd
gamer.
Be good as like a distraction for me. Like I'll play an odd. Well, I was playing an odd round of Football Manager till I had my phone replaced and lost all the save data.
Oh,
but I did actually used to play Doctor Who Legacy a fair amount on my old phone. And that was fun for what it was, but it was like a very generic puzzle game, really. Nothing special at all about it, but it was a decent enough time waster. You had some pictures of Doctor Who characters. That was kind of
nice
for the game. I could really say about it.
Doctor Who game.
So, I mean, and like you said, you don't know what. I don't think he said anything about how the game will actually play.
No, it says it builds on last year's VR experience, so I think that must have gone down pretty well. So
sorry for the.
This is for Edge of Reality.
Assassin.
Oh no!
Oh, well, talking about Lonely Assassin.
Okay, let's go Lonely Assassin then. Yeah. So
yeah.
Well, from the trailer, it looks like there's a load of like videos, and you more watch the videos happening, and we got the return of Osgood, which is cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
However, I feel like the Weeping Angels work better on bigger screens. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like on a phone I'd be as scared of a Lonely Assassin on a phone. But on a home console,
you kind of get the
bigger
effect like they had in Time of Angels, I think, where they had kind of like Amy with the tablet. And it's like,
oh yeah, I guess yeah. Well, I know, but it's like for like that was on TV, so it was bigger, you know. I feel like I find it difficult to be scared by anything on this size screen, you know. I don't know, but
true.
I mean, it might be fun. It might be a good game. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to write it off.
But like
just
I'm always wary
of
mobile games. My first thought whenever I'm seeing like a mobile game trailer is how are they going to monetize this?
Yeah.
What scummy business practices are they going to use to try and claw money out of us?
Oh wait! No, okay. Doctor Who Lonely Assassins will launch on iOS, Android, and Nintendo Switch.
And Switch, yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. But because there have been quite a few mobile ports to Switch, but they don't change a lot. It's just because inherently the fact it is mobile. What is wary again is that it isn't on like PS4 or Xbox One. Implies that it is built as a mobile experience, even if it is coming to Switch.
Yeah, but I'm just happy I can play it on a home console. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I got my big TV, so I can actually enjoy it.
Like, I'm still wary, like you know, about that one in particular. Edge of Reality is far more interesting, although again we don't know a great deal about it. Like the trailer had like 1 or 2 in-game shots, but like no indication about what exactly we'd be doing. And it's not like Doctor's necessarily the best history particularly in terms of console gaming.
Well, yeah, I guess it says new monsters, new worlds to explore. Players will wield the 13th Doctor's sonic screwdriver on a quest to save the universe. Players
so I guess it's building on the VR experience to be first person.
Yeah.
Like it was there.
So yeah, I think you'll be playing as a character like Skyrim, I guess, style gameplay. Well,
I mean, that can be said about a lot of first person games, but yeah, first person game like that. Although I think, because I haven't seen a whole lot about the VR experience, really, I don't really know how it plays.
I've watched a couple.
But I imagine
I've watched a couple of videos actually on that. So it played all right, but obviously because it's a VR game, it's limited to picking up stuff and pointing stuff and that. But with a console game, I feel like maybe you'll be able to do slightly a bit more.
I hope so. Especially considering, wasn't the VR experience only like 15 minutes or so?
It wasn't super long, no. But I mean, people enjoyed it. Clearly, it went down well. Enough people played it. But the issue is not enough people own really VR sets, to be honest, and it's not really a trend I look into buying into, because I have to buy like
I wasn't, but my dad super is, and I think is currently upgrading our PC to handle such. So,
fair enough.
So I might actually
get the VR
have a chance to try that out. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Oh, well, let me know. But I mean,
I'll have to report back to that on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. But 10th Doctor everywhere. Can't get rid of him. Can't get rid of him now. He's in the game.
He says the War Doctor line.
Yeah, he says, I'm the Doctor, probably not the one you're expecting. That was the 8th Doctor.
Oh, the 8th Doctor. Sorry.
Not the War Doctor, you giddy goat. But yeah, I mean, that's like... nice. But yeah, I mean, while it's great, it's David Tennant and everything. It's like everything this year. It's like David Tennant's just come back into the role. It's like, why doesn't he have enough of series? Let's just fit it in. Let's do a special series. Just David Tennant at this point.
I mean, I just imagine it's for an actor. Well, for him, I'd imagine, he's not getting to do a whole lot else. I think a lot of actors aren't. So he's
bleeding it dry.
Yeah,
but surely the other actors,
large families to support as well. So,
it does actually. Oh, I'm sure he has enough money though.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, yeah, I'm not saying not, but able to keep that cash flow going.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
there's a lot of Doctor Who projects that he can fit into currently, and he's just taking kind of advantage of that.
I know, but surely Matt Smith must want something, or there's the other actors. Imagine if a classic Doctor showed up in this. That would have been great.
I always get the impression, particularly from Matt Smith, that he's somewhat hesitant to. I always got that impression. I mean, just seeing the bits the interview that they did with the 3 Doctors and such, he seemed far less, I guess, committal to doing more.
What do you mean?
I mean, not saying he wouldn't, but he wasn't.
I think he will eventually.
As keen.
Yeah, maybe not. But I'm sure
maybe that's a retirement plan more than anything.
Surely a classic Doctor would have been way up for this. Wouldn't that have been cool to see Peter Davison just in this as the Doctor? Why does it always have to be Tennant? I don't want to be, but
they've done an awful lot with the 10th and 13th, because they also had that comic.
The comic as well, and it's there are other Doctors out there, man. 13, or if we want to go pre-Hartnell,
the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, I think they just look at the tables.
Besides, I think to a certain extent they might, there is somewhat of a because both of them were part of Broadchurch. So there's already a kind of established link there. So
I guess, but the thing is though, is it's like they're not acting across from one another. It's like they're in their wardrobes recording the audio like we are now, separately.
Well, yeah, it's true. Although they are still bouncing back and forward off each other, a good kind of.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Mean, to a...
we don't even know if they're talking to each other yet. I think they're just talking to the player. Interesting. I mean, it looks cool. Though the picture where he's standing in the doorway looks a bit like Mum said it's my turn to play with the sonic screwdriver. That's like the pose I see,
Yeah. I'd say most of that trailer is just shots of enemies.
It looks good, though.
It's just like quick flashes of in-game footage. Slow pans of enemy. 10th Doctor!
Hey,
it's just like, it's not, it doesn't really tell us a whole lot about what we're actually getting ourselves into.
I mean, it's a teaser trailer, so, yeah.
It's true, but, like, you could have given us a little bit of, like...
I mean, look, I'm not going to complain about the video game not showing us shit when the actual TV series itself doesn't show us shit. Like,
true.
If there's any way around, then it should be. Like, this has shown us more about a video game than, like, the upcoming special.
You're not wrong.
I want to see not CG Daleks, but all we're getting at the moment is CG Daleks, which takes us on to Daleks! Exclamation Mark. You have to say that. It's very important.
Yes.
Daleks! Exclamation Mark. That's the only way you can reference this series, by the way. That's lore, by the way. That's it. You can't say it any other way, or I'll have no idea what you're talking about. If you just say Daleks, I'll be like, what? The Daleks? Dalek? What are you talking about?
What's a Dalek?
What is a Daleks! Exclamation Mark. Ah, the CG series. Oh, man. I'm very conflicted about this because I don't want to complain because we're getting it for free. It's got decent voice cast, but the female mechanoid voice sounded weird as hell. But we got the mechanoids, so I'm also like, that's an interesting story, doing a Dalek mechanoid war. That's kind of was always what they wanted to do, but never did. It's kind of cool that we're gonna
in a way, like because of course this is kind of what Terry Nation was wanting to do with them, to spin them off, have their own series, have the mechanoids be a bit more recurring in that, which of course never came to fruition. The issue, like the concept is solid, just like it was clear that certain corners were cut.
Corners, fucking roundabout.
Like it
jump
looks
right
like a
over
very early PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah, but it's like I was fine with most of the shots, but it was like when it did the over dramatic extermination of the guy in the distance, and it was when he got hit, and he was just kind of like, I don't know. For some, I was drunk at the time when I watched the trailer, by the way, so it made it all the more hilarious.
There was it looked quite jank to me. I mean, it like legitimately, like a lot of that does, like, I know to a certain extent it was jokes, but like a lot of things in there do legitimately look like an early PlayStation 2 games. Like sometimes when you see the camera cuts, things won't pop in till a second later, or like the way the movement goes feels very odd or awkward throughout the whole thing. The way that the trailer is, the lighting is in, just looks like very cheap.
Yeah, it's
they tried clearly to do some sort of cell shading or something, some sort of like stylized look to it, but it just comes across looking really odd.
for what we're used to. Yeah. And I think that's the issue. We're trying to compare it to things we get now. For a free series.
Not just that. Like, even if you look, and I mentioned this before, like you look back at
like the Infinite
Dreamland,
Question,
and sure, like,
well, I guess it depends what the budget was. Like, that's ultimately it. What was the budget for that compared to this? I mean, like, Doctor Who is getting way less.
Well, isn't that inherently the problem, though? If they're not, giving this a huge budget, that is something inherently to complain about. Right?
Oh yeah, I can complain about the budget, but I'm not going to complain about what the animators did with the property time. I mean, I wonder.
I don't blame the animators.
I wonder when this was actually put into like production. If it was all over lockdown, like they've turned this around pretty damn quickly. if they did it from March
I mean,
onwards.
yeah, like I said, I don't blame the animators at all for the end product. You know, they probably weren't given much time at all, very limited budget, and there's probably only like one or two of them really just to get this whole series through. So that's almost certainly not their fault. But that doesn't mean I can't critique what we're actually seeing.
Oh,
Because what
yeah.
we're actually seeing is, well, to put it bluntly, quite crap. To be fair, honest.
Yeah, it's something. I'm glad we're getting it for free though. If they were like, yeah, it's on YouTube as well. Like that's the thing. It's like it's not TV. It's social media, and barely that. So you see the kind of crap that gets on social media these days. It's yeah. I mean, it might be a good story, and maybe after like so many episodes, you'll just kind of get used to it. Maybe it will have that kind of so bad it's good charm to it. I guess we'll really see what happens. If the story's good, maybe it'll be kind of a funny little quirky thing, the little Daleks. But it doesn't help make the Daleks very intimidating.
No, not at all.
That's kind of the issue for that front as well. It's like let's make them more funny. But I'm glad they're getting a spin-off. I always feel like they should have some. I think like it should get an episode spin-off, like just them.
Again, I think I mentioned this on here before, but I definitely recommend if you're looking for like big finish, the Dalek Empire series is actually really good for kind of putting that emphasis on the Daleks without like a doctor in sight. So.
Hopefully they try and tap into that a little bit with this, but I guess we'll see. We will see. Or hopefully the Dalek Christmas festive special, which makes me
the Daleks Christmas special.
The Dalek Christmas special.
I just now get a picture of like the Daleks at home, like presenting like a Christmas cooking show or something.
With Jayella.
Today we will cook the turkey.
With Nigella.
It is thoroughly cooked.
Yeah. Just exterminate it. Oh man. Well, I'll watch it come November. It will be something, and then it builds up to the festive special teaser. I guess that's what we're gonna get on the What will it be this year? The 57th anniversary? Yeah. Wow. Already 7 years since. Right. Wow, that's crazy to think. That's gone very quickly. Yeah, that's John Hurt voice recast.
Yeah, that's controversial. I know there's a lot of very mixed thoughts on that. I actually don't think even people are necessarily against it being recast. I mean, Doctor Who has kind of a long history of that in terms of audios, because of course, all the first 3 Doctors were recast. Several of the companions have been recast. Like, I think the issue a lot of people are having with it is the length of time. It's only been like 3 years since John Hurt's passing, so some people were like, "Oh, it's too soon." And I mean, I get that to a certain extent, but I can see that this is very much being done with the utmost kind of respect
for the character.
To John Hurt. Like, the voice is like spot on, like absolutely spot on. Like, if we didn't know everything and he just like put the 2 voices side by side, I think you'd be hard pressed to find an actual difference. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it, though I do understand why some people are a little like, a little bit hesitant about the prospect, I guess.
Thing is I don't know why are people getting offended. I get like if it was people close to John Hurt or it was family members of John Hurt. But when it's strangers who are commenting on, oh, this is like, why are you disrespected by this? Maybe that's your personal preference, but you don't know, like, oh, he's died, so I never want anyone to watch my movies again or to use me in any artwork again because I'm now dead. It's like, it's kind of when you're an entertainer. Like,
I wouldn't say it's necessarily so much to complain. Is that you can't use my image again? It's just that inherently being that it's a different person. It's somebody else kind of taking the form of that image, I suppose.
I think as someone doing an impression of you, I'd take that as a compliment myself. It's not like they've literally completely changed the character and said, "Oh, it's still the War Doctor," and it's like a guy with a different voice in a different costume, and it's literally trying to do a spot on impression. And I don't know. I feel like some people I don't know, could play for no reason sometimes, find offense in something where they're like, who does this offend? Who is it upsetting?
Yeah, I mean, and I get that, but I guess it is just about I mean, and this has cropped up quite a few times, really, because what extent should people be brought back, after they died? Because they
Star
also
Wars and stuff.
there was that whole controversy about Tarkin in Rogue One and such.
Yeah,
and I get it. It's kind of a bit touchy, and should we be bringing back people? Like, this wasn't a thing in the past. Should we be, when that person isn't there to, give a green light or to oversee that, everything's up to their standards, or, even, should we be then having somebody else fill in that role? It's a bit, like I said, it's not always so cut and dry in terms of the ethical side of it, but to me, clearly, there must have been several levels of approval to get to this stage with the War Doctor. They must have run it through John Hurt's family, and
exactly. It's like it wouldn't have got to this stage. It wouldn't have gotten to this stage. Like it wouldn't have. It just wouldn't. Like it wouldn't get to this stage.
Yeah,
because you're looking at lawsuits and thousands and millions if you're unlucky. So you wouldn't take that risk. So it's clearly fine. Yeah. But I guess people don't really understand. I mean,
but that's, to some people, they'll feel uncomfortable about that. And like I said, it's not even so much that they are recasting in. I think a lot of people did expect it to happen. It's, for a lot of people, it's a length of time. I think it's just the wound is still, I guess, a little. Yeah, people. It feels a little, because it did take them years to recast certain actors for Doctor Who.
I don't know. 5 Doctors wasn't that long after, was it?
Like 8 years between William Hartnell's passing and the 5. Or something like that. It was before they brought in Richard Herndl for the 5 Doctors.
Let me check.
And recently, of course, Sarah Jane is now being voiced by Elizabeth Sladen's daughter, and that took she died in 2012, wasn't it?
2011.
2011. So it took 9 years to do that. I mean, that's generally, I guess that's kind of what people have come to expect, is that, okay, we can, people can be recasted, but usually it's not done till, at least over 5 years after the fact.
I mean,
I think some people would,
I guess, but it's like, if you're going to do it in that many times and you're going to do it, like, I think maybe for Sarah Jane, it's like the idea didn't come about. They already have this pre-established series. This is volume 4 they're now working on. It's like, why would you leave? I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I think there's nothing to complain about. The checks would have been done, that it would be fine to do,
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I disagree with people saying that it shouldn't exist, but I also don't necessarily blame people for saying, "Oh, I'm probably not going to get this because this makes me feel a bit uncomfortable given the timing on this."
I guess, but I mean, what, you're going to get it in 4 years down the line if you ever get it, or you're just not going to get it at all? It's it's a pointless comment to say if you're eventually going to get it. Like, I don't know. It's, to me, it's like. So what? It was fine. It makes no difference. Like, it's, to me, it's what's happened. It would have gone through the checks. It's clearly fine. I'm clearly happy to do it. What, as from an actor's point of view, would you mind if someone took your character and continued it after your death? What would you feel?
I mean, Yeah, I'd personally be okay with that. I wouldn't be against it, but again, every actor is kind of different in that. I'd imagine, like some people wouldn't feel comfortable. Like there have been instances in the past where some actors are pretty determined to make sure, oh, when I go, this kind of character, yeah. And
Oh,
sometimes people aren't even comfortable bringing back certain characters because of like a passing and whatnot.
yeah. I think this is different though when it's like on TV, than like when it's an audio. It's like an audio because so it's like if you close your eyes, you're still gonna see John Hurt. You're not gonna see this other guy playing the role. You know?
Mm. Yeah, but even then, sometimes they just don't. Sometimes they don't want to touch that. Like I remember it was what was it, the teacher in The Simpsons, like the female teacher. They never recast her, for example, once the
Oh,
actress passed.
yes, Mrs. Krabappel. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, that's up to the individual, and
I
like I
guess
said,
that would have been
sometimes
that
it
would have been
hurts.
quite instant though, wouldn't it? Like there's seasons every year, aren't there, for The Simpsons? So that would have been a.
Mm.
It's like if Marvel came out like today, being like, "Oh, here's our new Black Panther," like that would be disrespectful. I feel because
Yeah.
that is
Well,
so soon. But I'd say 3 years is quite a while, really.
yes and no. I mean, again, that's.
Do you think there should be a
I mean,
limit?
3 years for me is just about kind of within the range of it being okay. But for others, yeah, I can see why, like, it might feel a bit too soon. And I also, I'd imagine it depends on people's, like, perspective of time, right? It
Yeah,
might feel sooner to some people than others. Um,
yeah, I guess so.
because, and I mean, to a lot of people, like, I mean, people knew he had pancreatic cancer, but, like, you know, he had said he was on he kind of been given the all clear and such. So when he did pass, it was perhaps to some like a little sudden in terms of like he said he was okay, and then next day he was gone. And I mean
Oh, I get
that
that, but however, it's like, did the other people complaining, people who were close to him, who would feel that death is heavy? Like that's the thing. It's like
no,
who's
but there is
complaining?
an
Like,
inherent strong connection to a lot of these actors who contributed to something that people really like. People really like John Hurt's portrayal of the Doctor,
yeah,
and so
oh yeah, I
and
loved it.
and in general, people really like John Hurt as an actor, for his various other works too. So it's like people do, they. Of course, they do feel connected enough to an actor, even if they don't know them, to feel, I guess that feel uncomfortable for these sorts of things if they don't feel like it's right, I guess.
Yeah,
Particularly when they haven't like had replacements before that. So like when for example when Christopher Lee passed, like on TV, the Clone Wars, the Star Wars series, they still had they had a voice of Count Dooku already in place to who was set beforehand, was already doing the TV, and so it wasn't so much a big issue just
yeah.
having him continue, because that was already
It was already
brought
recast.
about with the actor's consent and everything. So I mean that's kind of where the ethical thing comes in, because John Hurt isn't here to approve or disapprove of this. I mean, not again, as you pointed out, not that he necessarily would. Like I said, as an actor, I wouldn't, and I'm sure quite a lot of actors feel that way. But I guess it's a thought that you don't know that necessarily, but at the same time, they have, they would have done their due diligence. They would have gone to the family, and they would have given all the correct procedures and approvals to go ahead with this. So, but like I said, I don't blame people sometimes for for feeling uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
But I also don't have a problem with this. It's they've clearly been as careful as they can be while in what is a relatively delicate situation. And like I was seeing on Twitter, like even some of the more like negative comment. Like Nick Briggs was on there, kind of trying to talk to engage and talk and kind of make sure, oh yes, I understand that, and but this is a reason why we're doing it, and trying to actually explain kind of the some of the thoughts behind this. So it's like I said, I think
good.
Big Finish is doing everything right, but I also don't I don't
You don't blame
some
anyone.
people
Yeah.
for being uncomfortable. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That's our thoughts on recasting. It happens. It's a part of the industry, I guess. Yeah, it just depends how it's
particularly
gone
now more than ever. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing, because like you look back at like the history of like cinema and TV, and like recasting absolutely happened, but like normally it wouldn't be on quite the same level as we're getting, particularly in this day and age, where they can recreate people's faces and match people's voice and such. So
yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps up for this week. I don't think there's anything else that really came about. 2 video games,
No.
Daleks, and
like I said, unfortunately, I haven't received my copy of the Dot 2 magazine or the next part of Defender of the Daleks yet, despite the fact that they've been shipped, so I can't talk about those quite yet.
Okay, next week then. And there's all about the Daleks, isn't there? So you can maybe give us some more information. Oh, hey, nice. Well, there you go. Comment below what you guys think of the video games, what you think of Daleks, exclamation mark. And what do you think of recasting? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's too soon? What's your view? Do you think, what's your opinion on recasting? There we go. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Give it a like if you liked it. And we'll see you next week for another Iso Harmony podcast. Catch you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.